But here's an example of someone who looks black, who's always been treated as black, who doesn't have that mindset of being black first.
She wants to other herself.
So this is Gina Torres, actress Gina Torres, who's played nothing but black roles her entire career as an actress also. And fair use, by the way, fair use.
Are you mixed? Because it's all about what you look like. Mm-hmm. And they did not know what the hell to do with me because I had this Spanish, Latin last name, yeah. Right? I presented black.
As Latinos, it's hard to find your place in this world.
Oh, Lord black. Jesus.
How do you present black? Because I don't present black, I'm black.
Right. I guess you're talking about
you know what I'm saying? How do you present blackness? I just am. I just am a foundational Black American, period. I don't present, anything. So, what are you coming into the room as?
Right. That's the thing. Because what they're saying is when people see me, they see a black person. But in my mind, I'm not a black person. That's what they're saying. Present black.
Right.
Present black meaning, okay, but I come in the room, they think I'm black, but I'm not. I know black. I know black.
I know black. She may as well have said that.
And so she's complaining about the fact that she couldn't play a Latina. Mm-hmm. She always had to play a black woman. And this is her gripe with Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? Even though she was embraced by us, we just thought she was another black woman too. We didn't even pay the last name, no mind.
Well, my thing is to turn down the role. I'm not black, so I don't want to play a black woman. I feel like that's offensive. I'm not black. That's cultural appropriation. You still taking the job.
Right. And what she's doing is textbook tetherism.
Right.
This is textbook. When we talk about a tether, this is exactly what we mean. Prime example of what we mean. I'm going to pretend to be one of these Negroes, even though I know I'm not one of these Negroes. I don't feel like one of these Negroes. I don't got no camaraderie with these Negroes, but if it's going to give me this opportunity, fuck it, I'll be black.
But she married Lawrence Fishburne.
And that's probably why he got the hell up out of there.
Right.
World, let alone the industry. And in my case, there were lots of times I wasn't.
John Leguizamo, please.
I can't stand him.
John Leguizamo is a major problem. He's a major problem. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have to deal with him going forward. Period. Keep him in the crosshairs.
White enough. But in Gina's case, she wasn't Latina enough or black enough.
And that's a lie.
Right.
We never told her she wasn't black enough. She the one that thinks she ain't black.
She othered herself.
Right. She was never shunned by the black community. We ain't never say, I ain't going to see that movie. This woman ain't black. I ain't supporting that. We ain't never do that. And we weren't the ones casting her saying that she couldn't play a Latina.
In the Latin world, they weren't seeing me either.
At all.
It was like, oh, we love Gina. Gina's great, but she's not really right for, they're going another way, or they're, and the other way was always like that European standard.
Latin person, basically a white passing Latino.
Yeah, preferably with an accent so that there's no confusion.
Right.
Because what we're trying to do, and I'm speaking from the perspective of the white supremacists in Hollywood, because their job is they are the marketers of white supremacy. Mm-hmm. And so what they do is they create reality out of whole cloth. They create people's perception of the world, what it is and how it works. And so what they have to do is they have to make Latino be synonymous with white or white-ish. So if we're going to have a role for a Latin person, we want them to look as white as possible, as close to being European as possible. We want that to be the image of the Latin world, because they remember they play a long game. They plan everything years in advance. So they understood it was going to come to a point, which is where we're at now, where they have to start allowing these Latinos to be included in whiteness. They knew that day was coming, and so they were preparing for it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Same process that they went through with the Italians, same process that they went through with the Jews, the Irish, and everyone else who wasn't considered white when they first got over here.
Right.
They had to go through a process to become white. You know what I'm saying? And so they've been putting the Latinos through that process for a while now, and now they're doing it real heavy.
And I think she wants to collect on that white part. You know, she doesn't feel like she's gotten her fair share, you know, of claiming the white part because she's a little more melanated.
Not all of them. Las Vegas said they have an admixture that consists of mainly West African DNA, but also include English and native DNA. Not all of them. John Leguizamo doesn't have mainly African DNA.
Neither does Fat Joe.
Right. Fat Joe doesn't have mainly African DNA. No,
absolutely not.
He does not. You know what I'm saying?
Ricky
Martin.
That's no.
Mark Anthony.
Mark Anthony, the one J-Lo was married to. That's a white man.
What's the politician name? Oh, by the way, George Zimmerman. He doesn't have mainly West African DNA. Marco Rubio. These are white men.
And also, let's go back. J-Lo. When has J-Lo ever identified as a black woman? And most of her characters, she's either played a Latino or a white woman.
Right. Right. And so that's the reason why we're having this conversation today, as a matter of fact. That's the reason why this is the topic, because a lot of times that's what I see in my comments. When we're critiquing all of the stuff that's going on with, Puerto Ricans claiming 50-50 hip hop and all of that stuff. When I'm putting up posts about that, people are always in the comment section saying Puerto Ricans are black too. Latinos are black too. I constantly hearing that argument always in the comment section. And I'm like, yeah, some of them are, but not all of them. And even some of the ones who are don't identify as black.
Right. And remember the statistics that you put up last Sunday. In the Puerto Rican community, I believe it was like 4 or 5% that identified as black, and then in the Cuban community, it was like 7%. So we're talking about people are making arguments for people that do not identify like that as black in large numbers.
Exactly, and we're going to get into some even deeper numbers today, as far as that goes. I'm going to pull up that in a second, but let me see where we at over here. We finished that video, right? Yeah. All right, cool. So I wanted to go here. Hold on a second, y'all. Like, share, subscribe, all of that. I'm in the wrong chat. I'm in the wrong chat. Hold on. Okay, source. All right. This right here. All right. And so this was her. This was her issue. Gina Torres. She was on that show with John Leguizamo complaining about not being able to play a Latina role and being forced to play a black woman for her whole career. That's what she was complaining about.
Forced.
And so in this BET article, by the way, they were talking about it. The actress says she used a Jedi mind trick to overcome the challenges as a person of color in Hollywood. So the Jedi mind trick was cosplaying black. That was the Jedi mind trick. And so they refer to her, BET referred to her as Afro-Latina actress Gina Torres, is opening up about her struggles in Hollywood and how she often felt pigeonholed when it came to the kind of roles she was offered. The Bronx native, and so this type of mindset is cultivated in the Bronx, by the way.
Wow. Once you said the Bronx, I was like, ding, 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 ding.
This type of mindset is cultivated in the Bronx. It don't just get cultivated in the island. All right. And so the Bronx native, who is the daughter of Cuban parents, says that as an actress, she felt like she had no place in the Hollywood world, and the conversation suggests, quote, there was no place for me as a Latina. And then as a black woman, I didn't identify as a black woman.
What was going on in her home?
There was no place for me as a Latina, so they didn't give me a place as a Latina. And as a black woman, I didn't identify as a black woman. So it wasn't that you weren't accepted as being black by the black community. You didn't accept being black.
You
These
didn't
are her
accept it,
words.
and your community didn't accept you as black either. It sounds like, you know what
Didn't
I'm
accept
saying?
her as a
So,
Latina.
right, because
And
she
this is
was
what I
too
be trying
damn
to.
dark.
And this is what I be trying to tell some of my Latina friends that I know personally, because I know the girls that you would just think is a regular black girl who got family members from Puerto Rico or whatever the case may be, and you know they like to. I guess they make it think. It makes them think that they're more exotic when they say that they're
Right.
Latina.
Black
So
women are
they like to
more
remind people. They like to remind people that they Latinas a lot. But I always tell them, you know, they don't consider you to be Latina though. The Latin community, they don't consider you as a Latina. To them, you're not.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
You ain't white enough.
Yeah, they don't get that. They don't get that. And most of the ones that I'm talking about, they don't even speak Spanish or nothing.
No. But they holding on to that 1% Latino or Latina.
Those be the main
have.
ones. But those be the main ones that will have the Puerto Rican flag bumper sticker on their car, you know, hanging on the mirror in their car. Those be the main ones because
overly doing it.
Because when you look at them, you don't see a Latina. So they have to find ways to tell you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They got to broadcast it.
My neighbor's ex-girlfriend was like that. I seen a straight up kind of lighter skin, lighter than me, maybe a shade or two lighter than me, but this is clearly a black girl, and she had a little on her rear view mirror a Puerto Rican flag hanging from her rear view mirror. So I hear what you're saying. I've never addressed it with her when she's talking. It's black, 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 nigga this, nigga that. She's, you know, with somebody that's black, you know, but she made sure she put that little symbol in that car.
Let me address Chikwu Igwe. He said less than 150,000 black people call themselves FBA out of 45 million black Americans. I don't know where you get the numbers, from, but let's just go with those numbers. That might be true. Mm-hmm. There are many people who don't use the term FBA, foundational black American, who don't refer to themselves as that, but they are still foundational black Americans.
That doesn't take away from it.
Similar to Freedman, right? Like I never called myself a freedman my whole life. You know what I'm saying? I would never, tell somebody ask me what I was. I would never say I'm a freedman. You know what I'm saying? I would just always say black. I would never use the term freedman, but I am though.
African American.
I've never said African American.
African American with myself. I would say black.
Yeah, I never said African American.
I never said African American. Now, if it's on paperwork because you're applying for a job, apartment, whatever the case may be, it says African American / black. So for me, it was always the black part that's on the application. I don't know how it looks in other states, but here it'll say African American, then it says / black. Yeah. So for me, it wasn't the African American part that I identified with. It was always just the black. I never felt African.
I always looked at the term African American as like a bougie term. You know what I'm saying? To me, that always was like you trying to soften the blow of being black. It's kind of like the people of color thing. People say that when they don't want to seem militant or offensive to white people. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's how I always looked at. That's how I always looked at it. So I was always rebellious against that. I always wanted, I'm black. You know what I'm saying? Like black, just straight up black. Not no black and nothing, nothing else, just black.
That was for me, but I've always looked at them, as my black cousins, my brothers and my sisters. I never ever tried to delineate myself from them until recently, once I learned that they had already, delineated. And obviously with our political reparations claims, I feel like I had to, but I've always tried to, respect, their culture, celebrate it with them, for them, etc. You know what I'm saying? I've never tried to, think of myself as better than them or look down on them because they were not foundational black Americans.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all.
Never.
Not at all. That's not a part of our culture.
Yeah.
That's just not a part of our culture. We weren't raised like that.
Right here.
Exactly.
Literally the map. So, I've never tried to, take anything from there was a celebration for me, of,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. My son's name is Zaire. You know what I'm saying?
My great nephew named Zaire.
Like, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? We just wasn't raised like that. Period.
Nope.
We're the ones that really celebrated Africa and made Africa something fly. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? When the world was trying to put shame on Africa and Africans themselves being ashamed of their own culture and all of that stuff, we the ones that was making it fly. We was making
Right.
songs about it and all type of shit. We was running around with African medallions on and all that shit. Like that always been a
Yeah.
part of our culture. Like, so that ain't us.
As a matter of fact, yesterday someone jumped in my timeline saying, in your profile picture, you have a dashiki on and some braids. And I got it from the Sloss and Swap Meet. Like, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, you over here talking about a shirt. So what? I have a shirt on that's a dashiki. You don't even fucking wear them. You ain't celebrating your culture. Y'all barely celebrate your own Africanness when you come over here. It's a wig that's glued down, to your eyebrows. You know what I'm saying? And cake soap in your collection. Like, stop it. I was like, what does that mean? I tried to ask her, what does that mean? And you can't get a response. I have a dashiki on. What does that mean?
They try to make
What?
it seem like that's some type of contradiction or something.
Yeah, or I'm appropriating their culture.
Yeah, they might be coming from that angle too. But I've seen it where because somebody posted a picture of Tariq with a dashiki on.
Yeah.
And they was trying to, say like basically, you switched up, contradicting yourself or whatever.
He
You know what I'm
never
saying?
switched up.
Type of
Never
deal.
switched up. First of
But
all,
yeah,
he
those are
celebrated
bad
y'all
faith.
culture more than y'all did. He
Right.
put a positive light on your culture. You're welcome.
Right. But let me finish her quote. This cosplaying tether. Gina Torres is
a
a
tether.
quintessential tether. Like it don't get more tetherish than this right here.
Oh, no.
So this is the full quote. There was no place for me as a Latina, and then as a Black woman, I didn't identify as a Black woman because for me, it was cultural. Because of course I present Black, I am a Black woman, but I'm also Cuban, she shared. When you're here in the United States and they ask you to be in a box and you don't fit into the box culturally, it was different. It was not one that I identified with, but to work, to survive, it was something I had to learn. That's what we mean when we talk about tethers.
Yep.
That's exactly what we mean.